Hey guys, today we're going to work on some percent equation word problems. Now that we've done section 6.4, you'll see some story problems here. And actually some of these are even from the 6.4 homework that we can turn into per sentences and that we can solve for them. And so in order to do that, we need to remember a couple things. First of all, we learned that is means equals, and we know the word of means times. That's really important for us to know as we're working through these story problems. Let's look at number one. A salesperson receives 2.5% commission on sales. What commission does the salesperson receive for $8,000 in sales? So commission is a percent of money that you get to keep when you're working for a company that works in sales. And so, for example, if I'm trying to sell a product and I do a really good job at selling it, the company is going to offer me a certain commission of that, and I get to keep so much of that those profits. And so it actually gets added on to my salary, so that if you're really good at selling something, then the better commission, you can actually earn a lot of money instead of just a flat salary. And so this person makes 2.5% on everything they sell, and they sold $8,000. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to know what is 2.5% of their sales, which is $8,000. And so all I really have to do is just figure, because it's going to equal this, right? Is means equals. It's going to equal 2.5% as a decimal. Slide the decimal backwards 2 spots, makes 0.025. Of means times $8,000. Okay, so if I multiply 8,000 by 0.025, that's going to give us $200. So you'll earn an extra $200 on your paycheck for that week or whatever because of your commission for number one. Number two, your school raised 125% of its fundraising goal. The school raised $6,750. What was the goal? Okay, so it says your school raised 125%, so they exceeded their goal. Okay, so it says, what is the goal? So $6,750, that's how much money they raised. That $6,750 is 125% of the goal. It says your school raised, so that's $6,750, 125% of the goal. Okay, so my percent equation, I guess I could use G for goal, is going to say 6,750. We're going to replace the word is with an equal sign. We're going to change 125% is going to change to 1.25 because it's over 100. We're going to change of to times. And then when it says the goal, we could just use the letter G. I guess I didn't use a variable last problem. I could use W, or I could use N for number, or I could have used seek for commission, the commission. So if you don't use the same variable as me, that's perfectly fine. And then to solve this equation, to get the goal or G by itself, we have to get rid of the times by 1.25. So we're going to divide both sides by 1.25. That'll tell us what the original goal was. And so $6,750 divided by 1.25 is going to give us $5,400. $5,400. Now that number is smaller than our original dollar amount, because remember, we exceeded our goal. So our goal must have been lower than the amount we raised because we met it by 125%. So our original goal for the school was this $5,400. Number 3, the sales tax on a surfboard is $12. What is the percent of sales tax? So if the tax is $12 and the total price of the surfboard is $240, I need to know 12 is, and then it says percent. What is that sales percent? So $12 is what percent of that total price, which was $240 for the surfboard. So there's my sentence. Now I'm going to change it into a per sentence, into an equation, right? By changing is to equals. I'm going to use P. I always use P for percent. I can use whatever letter I want to for just dollar amounts, G for goal, C for commission, but for percents, we're going to use P. Of means times, so I'm switching that to times. Is means equals, of means times, and then $240. Now, I didn't have to convert any percent to decimal like I did up here for the first one and the second one, because this one doesn't have a percent in it. My answer is going to be a percent. So to solve this equation, to get P by itself, we have to get rid of the times 240. And to do that, we're going to divide by 240 on both sides. Now, 12 divided by 240 is going to give us a decimal. 12 divided by 240 should give us 0.05. And since my answer has to be written as a percent, if I slide that decimal 2 spots to the right, that's going to be the same as 5%. So whatever state you bought this surfboard in, probably not Indiana, is making you pay 5% sales tax. Remember, Indiana has a 7% sales tax. Number 4, in a survey, a group of students were asked their favorite sport. 18 students choose other sports. Part A, how many students participated? And part B, how many chose football? Okay, so I don't know how many students participated, but I do know that 40% said baseball. Over here in the diagram, we can see that, and 37.5% said football. So since percents are out of 100, I can find out what percent said something other than those two sports by taking 100%, subtracting away the 40% that said baseball, and subtracting away the 37.5% that said football. And that's going to give you 22.5% that said other. Okay, so I just got that by subtracting 100% minus 40 minus 37.5. Okay, now it says that 18 students chose other sports. So this 22.5%, 18 is 22.5%. I'm getting that from right here, by the way. 18 chose other. So that 18 is 22.5% of the total. And for part A, I'm actually supposed to find how many students participated in the survey. That would be the total. So I'm going to turn this into an equation. 18 is means equals. Slide the decimal backwards twice to get 0.225. Of means times, and I'll use T for total. Okay, or maybe I'll use, maybe I'll say P for, no, I won't say P. I was going to say P for participants, but we'll just go with T for total. I don't want to make it look like it's a percent. So we're going to get T by itself by dividing both sides by 0.225. 18 divided by 0.225 is going to increase our number because I'm dividing by a really, really small number. 18 divided by 0.225 is 80. So there were a total of 80 participants, or I'll just put 80 students. And that's the answer to part A. How many students participated? 80 of them. Part B says, how many chose football? Well, now that we know that there was a total of 80 students, 37.5% of those 80 chose football. And so I can turn that into a multiplication problem because of means times. We're going to slide the decimal backwards 2 spots to get 0.375 times 80. So 0.375 times 80 is 30. So we had 30 students that voted for football as their favorite sport. So this is part B. And then part A, we said, was 80 students. Number 5, of 147th grade students, 15% earn the Presidential Physical Fitness Award. How many students earn the award? So I need to know what 15%, because that's how many that earn it, of 147th graders is. And so this is a pretty easy one. I just have to turn 15% into a decimal. Change of to times. And multiply by 140. So 15% or 0.15 times 140 gives us 21, and it's a story problem. So remember, I've been labeling all of our story problems. 7th graders, 21 7th graders. Okay. Number 6. A salesperson receives 3% commission on their sales. The salesperson receives $180 in commission. What is the amount of their sales? Okay, so this is a similar problem to the very first one we looked at, but in the first problem, they told us what the commission percent was, and then they told us what the sales were. We sold $8,000. For this one, they're telling us what the commission percent is, and then what the commission we made off of it is. We have to determine how much we sold. So we're going to work in a reverse order for this one. So 3% of what is $180? That's my question. 3% of what is $180? Because commission is percent of your sales. Well, I don't know what the sales is, so that's my what. In fact, I could even say 3% of sales is $180. You could write that too. And so that's what I'm going to have to determine here. So to turn this into an equation, I'm going to back the decimal up 2 spots to make this 0.03 times my sales equals $180. So what were my sales? To get S by itself, I'm going to have to divide by 0.03. Divide by 0.03. 180 divided by 0.03 means we sold $6,000 worth of sales. So $6,000, and that's how we earned our $180 of commission. Okay. Number 7. You are assigned 32 math problems for homework. Oh, wow, that's a lot. You complete 87.5% of those before dinner. How many do you have left to do after dinner? So a couple different ways we could do this one. I think the easiest way is not to find out what 87.5% of the problems is, because that's going to tell me how many I have done, but instead figure out how many that I don't have done, because it says how many do you have left. So if I have 87.5% of those done, subtract that from 100. Minus 87.5 means I have 12.5% left to go. Okay, so I need to know what 12.5% of my 32 math homework questions is, because that's how many I still have to finish. And so 12.5%, move the decimal backwards, gives you 0.125 times 32. 0.125 times 32. You have 4 questions left. So 12.5% of 32. Now, if you would have done 87.5% of 32, and multiply that, you would have gotten 28 questions. That would have told you how many you had done. And then you would subtract that from 32 to see how many you have left, and you still would have gotten 4. So you could do it that way as well. And then finally, number 8, your friend earns $10.50 per hour. That's really good. This is 125% of her hourly wage last year. So they've given her a raise. If it was 100% of her wage from last year, that means it didn't change. It's exactly what it was before. Didn't go up, didn't go down. But if it's 125%, then obviously she got a raise. How much money did your friend earn per hour last year? Okay. So this $10.50, it says this is $10.50 is 125% of her hourly wage last year. I'll just put her wage last year. Okay, so I'm literally word for word turning this into what I have here as a percentence, and then I'm going to turn it into an equation by substituting equal sign for is means equals, so 10.50 equals, moving the decimal backwards twice, 1.25 of substituting times for that, and I'll just use W for her wage from last year. So to get W by itself, I have to divide both sides by 1.25. Okay, that's going to give me W equals, and then 10.50 divided by 1.25 means she made $8.4 last year. Now, nobody would say $8.4. Remember, with money, we use 2 decimal places. So I need to add a 0 here. Last year, she made $8.40 per hour with a 125% pay increase. That means now she's making $10.50 this year. Okay. All right. So you might want to go through your 6.4 homework and determine which of these were actually story problem homework questions from that homework, and then you can copy them onto your work paper. Some of these were not from 6.4. They were just extra ones that I wanted to do with you guys. So now that you're done, make sure you finish your 6.4 homework. I'll see you guys later.